Bye-bye.
Interlock, that is, you interlock the two.
Now stretch them quite as...
Soccer and the...
Quiet, please. In exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
I felt like a reptile. I felt like a reptile.
Yeah, we're good, man.
We're good?
Yeah, rolling.
Are we already rolling?
Yeah, we're rolling.
Happy days. Hello and welcome to the Full Reptile Radio Podcast, episode 2.
Yeah, welcome back, everyone.
There you go.
Hope you enjoyed the first show. Got lots of stuff to talk about based off that show, really, as well.
Oh, even better.
Well, we recorded and Francis Ngannou was potentially leaving the UFC, and then literally a day after we recorded this, he left the UFC.
Mate, at least we got it out there, though, that we didn't look like we knew it, and then we're trying to make out we're flexing.
Yeah.
And I think it was a pretty good prediction, but then they dropped the Jon Jones news, and I was like, what are you doing, lads? Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
flexing.
that was mad. It's good to hear that he's coming back.
Jon Jones?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I think, I don't know, I was talking to Chris about this. Chris has been into the UFC for about probably 10 years. So when there was people coming back before, like when GSP came back to fight Bisping, he was all about Bisping.
Yeah.
And he couldn't see. He was like, oh, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know this guy, GSP. And I was like, no, dude, trust me. It's not even a competition. And he was like, no, I think he's got it. And then when he watched it, he was like, oh yeah, there's levels to this, isn't there? And he was messaging me the other day saying that he thinks that Garn will take it.
Yeah.
At heavyweight with Jon Jones.
It's a tough one because like Cyril Gane is like that new generation of heavyweights, like really fast, and it's kind of what Jones was at light heavyweight.
Yeah.
So I don't know how he's going to carry that up to. Well, he's just a bit of an unknown at heavyweight, isn't he? Because he's never fought at heavyweight.
Exactly. Yeah, and I think obviously it's all about getting cracked. Jon Jones, I don't think he gets hit that much. I mean, I know when Gustafsson, obviously, when they're a similar frame to him, they can catch him, but there wasn't a lot of people catching him beforehand. And I still think he's a wily motherfucker, man. He knows how to win. It's not necessarily just about taking someone out with one shot. He knows how to work it. He knows how to win. And how many new up-and-coming prospect nightmare challengers has Jon Jones seen and like come out the other side like, yeah, keep sending them. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so hard to argue with his record. As what, like, yeah. I was thinking though, like you were just talking about the GSP thing. When you're at that level and you're kind of seen as like the ultimate, like what Jon Jones is, there's a bit of added pressure on them as well because they've got to come back and still be that person.
Oh, without a doubt. Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like that pressure is, I don't know how it affects someone like Jon Jones, but.
No, well, I mean, the trouble is there's loads of occasions where people have been off for a long time. Normally, it's a retirement, like when you see Chuck do it, and you see another example. Like my cousin never understood how good Chuck was. He always thought that he was just a punching bag. And I was, because I had a picture on my stairs of Chuck doing the whole Chuck Liddell lean back, and I had it on the stairs as you walk down. And he was like, "Oh, have you got that knob on your wall?" And I was like, "Because he's the man." And he's like, as if he's been knocked out like 7 times. So normally, when the retirement is the question, you get the situations like Hoist Gracie coming back to fight Matt Hughes, still got the confidence, still got the belief, but realistically, not going to happen. Same as Chuck. But then you do have extreme circumstances where people have had to walk away, albeit for contract reasons or whatever it was. Like Robbie Lawler, it was quite famous that he was about for such a long time in the UFC from such a young age, like the 30s and 40s of the UFC events. And then he just disappeared. He was like Strikeforce and Bodog and all these other little organisations. But then when he came back, you knew that he was a monster before, but you had seen him kind of struggle in a couple of fights in Strikeforce. But then to come back and starch Koscheck was phenomenal. And then he went on the run. But often is the case that you just don't know what's going to happen. Like BJ Penn, when he had his contract issues, obviously he'd fought and beat like everyone. I know he obviously lost to Jens Pulver and whatnot, but then he beat Matt Hughes.
Yeah.
The animal. He'd beat Matt Hughes, but then went away and came back and he wasn't the same guy. Do you know? He was still good. He was still amazing, still the prodigy. But yeah, like that layoff it's a long, long time. A layoff and a weight class change, and you're being fed to the lions.
Yes, it's going to be. It's exciting that he's back though. Really excited for it. Because I was listening to Stipe's interview yesterday he had with Ariel.
Okay.
And he was hoping he'd get the fight, you know, the Jones fight as a comeback fight, and like that would be a really interesting matchup as well. Stipe Jones. Yeah. Because obviously, like the legacy that Stipe's got in like the heavyweight division, the legacy that Jones has got. Yeah, it'd be kind of, if Jones beats the best ever heavyweight, then he's kind of stamped himself as, you know.
Well, I mean, it's undeniable. Other than the pictogram situation, like, I mean, that's historical. But the problem is, once it's been caught and it's been a thing, then it's always like a little mark, just like it's like a category D write-off of a car. It still works, still looks the same, but you know, there's a situation. But I suppose, I think the thing is just with Stipe, it's just a difficult one, because obviously when we were in Nottingham and he fought Stefan pieced him up and made him look bad. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is, there could have been so many reasons for that, because then the run that he went on in the heavyweight division, it can't really be questioned. But the thing is, because he's lost now to Ngannou, which literally he only has to touch you once, it still kind of takes a bit of his legacy away. Do you know what I mean? So if you were saying to me, if Dana really liked Jon Jones, who would he give him as the welcome back fight? Is it going to be Stipe or is it going to be Garn? I think if he really liked Jon Jones, I can't say easier fight because neither of them are easy, but like the softer welcome back is probably Stipe.
Yeah,
he's
I guess.
A bit older.
Yeah.
He's probably not fought for quite a while as well.
Yeah, I think his last fight was the Ngannou fight. Yeah.
So it's a long time.
Yeah.
But then that sort of, it makes it more competitive to a degree. Mm-hmm. But you're messing with Jon Jones, man. Like, it's the problem is, because it's never ever been shown up that there's that many holes in the game or there's any massive weaknesses, that you kind of, he could be off for 10 years and you're like, all right, crack on. Do you know what I mean? I don't know. But I think ultimately fighters, they've got that self-belief. Like there was did you see that post about...
Is your phone on? Airplane mode.
My phone can be on airplane mode.
Buzzing.
There you go. Nice. Might be my stomach grumbling if you can hear that. Sorry. There was a post that my cousin sent me about Jake Paul fighting Chuck Liddell. And
what, a recent post?
Yeah, recently, because they were saying, basically someone had messaged to Chuck to say, look, Jake Paul's in the PFL, would you fancy welcoming him in?
Okay.
And he was like, look, I'm 54, but he still won't want any of this if we fought. And I'm like, dude, come on, man. Like, I know you got the self-belief and everything, but the last time out with Tito I was more worried about Chuck during that fight than the
thing is,
majority of Slap
I think
fighting.
people underestimate Jake Paul a little bit. Like, admittedly, he's not the best boxer in the world, probably, and you know, he's only just got into MMA, but like, he's only, what is he, 27?
Exactly.
Like, he trains probably every day. You know, he is improving. You can see that. So like, I think people like that, you know, and he proved it against Anderson Silva. Like, people who are past, well, they've already had their career. They've already been at the greatest. You know, I don't think Chuck Liddell would really give him much of an issue, to be honest.
Not a bit. Not really, because...
Especially in boxing, anyway.
Years ago, even MMA.
Yeah.
The problem is, MMA, like, I know the commentators say it most time, but you start standing up. You start on your feet. And there's a chance. There's always a chance. Look at Masvidal against funky Ben Askren. Dude, like, if that was a grappling tournament, yeah, Masvidal would lose all day. But there was the chance, and he took the chance. And I suppose, even with Chuck, like, it was the way he was moving. He was renowned for being able to be an amazing counter striker. he would use his wrestling in reverse to not be taken down, and he would just be constantly moving backwards. Look at when he knocked out Babalu, Renato Sobral. Just even both times, it was always a beautiful like product that he had. But then the chin will age, your jaw will age, and that's one thing that Jake Paul's got. Because of his youth, he can probably take a bit more damage, and he's got that stubborn mentality of like not really giving up. Do you know what I mean? He's got a point to prove. So yeah, when it comes to people coming back, it's always such a strange unknown, because when you see people come back and they smash their opponent from being laid off, like I think it was Dominic Cruz. I think Dominic Cruz came back, and I want to say it was Tage Mitsugaki, and he beat him. Is
this his like first comeback?
No, well, mate, it was one of them. Yeah. He's had so fucking. He's made a glass.
Well, he's never retired, has he?
He's never retired, but all his bones are just smashed to pieces.
And stuff. Yeah.
And he said, ring rust is real. But then you got someone like Tony Ferguson that's basically had 2 new legs, rehabbed them in 20 minutes, and then fought again and gone, don't know what you're talking about.
I think like just in terms of mentality, it's real. I think for a lot of people, but I think when it comes to people like, I know, like Habib and Jon Jones and GSP, like the reason they're that great is because they've got a different mentality to everyone else, besides the technical and just natural ability for it. But you've got to have something different mentally, and like maybe that kind of thing doesn't affect someone like Jon Jones. You don't know. It's hard to say. It's hard to say until you actually see it.
Do you reckon it could be like it becomes second nature, because someone like GSP, I mean, he's been fighting. He was fighting with his dad karate from, was it 6? And Habib obviously was wrestling bears from being a baby. I mean, I don't know John's history.
New shirt.
Yeah, check out new shirt. You definitely do that with the bears there. The bear's mad famous. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to him coming back, because I just like having something to look forward to. So like even this weekend, the card's not mad stacked. There's obviously you did the Picks podcast with Dan and V, and I did the graphics. So I'm going through sort of seeing who there is, and first 4 or 5, I'm like, yeah, I'm all over this. I know this, but then there's a lot of contender fighters and people making their debut, and I think sometimes I always like the way they used to do it, where they'd get 2 fighters that would probably normally headline like a fight night. They headline the prelims.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you get a Faber or a Wineland or
prelim
something.
Headlight that's free
that you're looking forward to. Well, the thing is, I like to consume everything. So normally on a Friday, I'll probably hit most of the embeddeds, get them done, get them just to top up my little bits.
I did that this morning, actually. I watched all the embeddeds for the UFC 283.
They do a good job, man. They get you jazzed ready for the fight.
I do like the embeddeds, like, because it's like a ritual, you know, when you're watching like the content for the fight week. Like, you always watch the embeddeds. They do get a little bit repetitive at times.
Yeah, just suitcase, airport.
Yeah. But no, they are good, because you get a realistic look into the fighters, like behind the scenes, which is great. But yeah, Glover, it's fun watching him. Like, you've watched them?
I've not watched them yet. I'll catch up.
But there's a bit where he's on the beach in like Rio. Obviously it's in Rio this time around, and there's like loads of fans on the beach, and he sees Figueiredo on the beach, and it's all just like
bro time,
chilling. Yeah, it's fun, man. Yeah,
he does seem really relaxed into himself now, because obviously you know about his visa issues for years and years and years and years. Obviously, he couldn't get over.
Who? Glover.
Yeah, so
over to
the UFC, to America. He had massive issues. I mean, I don't know exactly what they were. If you know, you can let us know. But it was always poetic. I think, didn't he fight? Because obviously Rashad kind of closed out Chuck's career, and basically was like, "Look, that's it, mate. This is your downward spiral." And then obviously Glover was a product of Chuck as well, because they used to train together, but it wasn't really that well known. Obviously Joe would talk about it occasionally, but not everyone's going to remember just a name without a face. So when Glover came over, I think he finished Rashad's career, which was kind of, at the time, because obviously I preferred Chuck to Rashad. I mean, I don't know either of them personally, but I was like, yeah, have some of that. And then I got behind Glover, and I saw him in Vegas, and he was a really nice, relaxed guy, but he just seems like he's kind of at that age where he's not trying to prove anything to anyone else. He seems really comfortable in his own skin.
Yeah, he knows who he is. Yeah. And I think You know, I was saying last week that Sean Strickland's kind of seems like he's got that mindset where he doesn't care if he loses or wins kind of mindset. And I think Glover's got that now. But, well, it's just he's already had his career. He's already been champion. He's already been at the top of the game. So, like, you know, if he lost...
Do you reckon that just ticks the box then? Like, he's climbed the mountain, he's got the belt, he's done that. And then I think he's at a decent enough stage in his career and the fight game has opened up quite a little bit that, let's say that the UFC were like, look, he's fought his contract out, he's not the champion or whatever it is. He's still a really marketable dude that would get a reasonable offer from, a Bellator or a PFL or a bare knuckle. I wouldn't want to see a bare knuckle or slap fight, but actually fight I'd like to see.
Yeah. Oh, geez, I need...
Do you need to put caffeine
turn this screensaver off tonight?
I used to have an app called Caffeine that would leave it on locked. I don't know if it's still a thing. If you want to sponsor us, Caffeine, let us know. But yeah, so I just can't have a bet against Glover. Ever.
I was speaking like I didn't think he's going to win, but yeah, he's got a massive chance, like huge chance against Jamal. And yeah, if I was going to pick,
do head and heart. What's head and heart saying? Who do you want to win?
I kind of want to see Jamal Hill. I like Jamal Hill.
Yeah, I've got nothing against Jamal Hill.
Yeah, I would like to see him win, like heart. But then in my head, I think Glover, because he's a technician. He's like wise old man, and
this is it.
He can grind his. I mean, like against Yuri, like Yuri's a lot younger and a lot faster and sharper. And look what he did to him. I mean, I know he got caught at the end, but like that whole fight. So I think head Glover just purely off his resume, and then but heart. I would like to see Jamal win.
I think
that'd be cool.
I can't go against Glover. I think he'll probably do it. I'm kind of easy either way. I don't really mind who wins.
Yeah, I'm not
But I think didn't they feed him to the wolves? Didn't they give him Ion Cutelabra? And but
he choked him out.
And this is it. And Ion poses a very similar sort of problem as Jamal. Do you know what I mean? Heavy hitter, fast, like. And I think he's kind of just that old dude, that person that has just lived in the gym and it is all become second nature. I mean, he's got the wow card of the jiu-jitsu that essentially doesn't really use. I mean, I know that Anthony Johnson knocked him out, but that wasn't necessarily a massively competitive fight because it was kind of quick and obviously he caught him. But when you see Glover actually grind and fight and push through, he's just like what he did to Jan. It's kind of undeniable, man.
Yeah. I think with that fight, the Jan fight, I don't think Jan was in a very good place going into that fight anyway.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I just think physically, I'm not sure like if there was or not, but it just seemed like it was. So I think his conditioning, I think he spoke about it. His conditioning wasn't on point. I think it was in like the build up to the Ankalaev fight. He just didn't feel like it at his best going into the Glover fight.
Okay. So if let's say Glover or Jamal win on Saturday, who do you see close the year out with a light heavyweight strap? Do you see it as someone that's currently in the UFC, a complete unknown? Does Jon Jones come back?
Well, Jones would be fighting for heavyweight, wouldn't he?
Yeah, but within 2023. Let's say he goes to heavyweight, gets starched, doesn't like it, too heavy, moves too slow, doesn't feel it, says, do you know what, I'm coming back to 205. Does Yuri close the year out with it? Does he get better and come back? Do we have someone from a different organisation or a new prospect? Or do you think it's one of as in Jamal or Jan or Glover or someone? Where do you see because the reason I ask is that back in the day, and I've been researching old events and stuff for some of the other stuff we're doing, the belts were so tied up. Anderson Silva, Jon Jones, Matt Hughes, GSP, all these, and they would stay in the same place.
Yeah.
Whereas nowadays, like, they're moving so fast.
I think because I saw it, it's funny you said that because I saw a picture earlier on Instagram, and it was like from 2011 to 2019, there was only 2 light heavyweight champions, DC and Jon Jones.
Yeah.
And then from 2019 to 2022, there's been 3 already.
Yeah.
So it's like, it shows how dominant Jon Jones was, and then obviously DC was there as well. But oh god, my mind's gone.
Who do you think will close the year out as a heavyweight champion?
I don't think Jon Jones is going to come back down to light heavyweight. I think, well, he's signed an 8-fight contract, and I think they're all going to be at heavyweight. But I don't know the extent of Yuri's injury, so I don't know how long he's going to be out for. If he was going to be back this year and he was going to fight again, I'd say Yuri. But if that doesn't happen, I think that maybe Ankalaev.
Okay, that's not a bad shout.
Because I think if Jamal beats Glover, then they'll probably have Ankalaev and Jamal fight, or Jan.
Okay,
but I still think
Ankalaev, circling that similar pot.
Yeah, Ankalaev, I think could beat Jamal Hill. So I'm going to say Ankalaev is light heavyweight champion by the end of the year.
Okay.
If Yuri doesn't come back,
we'll go through more. We'll work them out. We'll work them out. But I think it's interesting what you just said about Jon Jones signing an 8-fight deal. Imagine that Jones gets the belt, because it's for the belt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay.
Vacant.
So he's got 8 fights at heavyweight. So the first fight is for the belt. And then what's the record in heavyweight? Is it 3 defences?
In heavyweight?
Yeah, I think it's 3 defences. I think Stipe holds it, because all the other, from back in the day, from Andrei Arlovski, all of them.
But I thought his was, I thought he defended it 5 times, nope. Stipe. No. Or did he lose it to Cormier and then
Yes, exactly. Yeah, so it was 3. I'm
it?
Pretty sure, because obviously Stipe won, and then Overeem, Ngannou. So is that 2 or 3? Because who else was it? Stipe.
DC?
No, because DC beat him the first time, didn't he?
Oh, you're on about defences for Stipe?
Did he beat him the first time?
Shall we have a look?
Yeah, just have a look, because I think he beat... He obviously...
Was it most heavyweight title defences?
Yeah.
UFC.
Yeah. And it's definitely Stipe. Stipe definitely holds it, because he beat... what's his name? Oh, my mind's gone blank. Begins with a V.
Why?
People are screaming at the thing. Sorry, guys. What's his name?
Yeah.
Heavyweight, who had the belt...
Before
Stipe. You'll find it now.
Shug?
No. So Stipe then fought Overeem, and he fought Ngannou, and obviously DC.
Oh, wait.
Verdum. So he beat Verdum to get the belt. But then, so if you look at the history of the heavyweight of the UFC, there was never more than 2 or 3.
I can't find it, just a list. Top 5 years.
But yeah, it's interesting, man.
Yeah. I think...
Because Jones can come back and smash that record.
It's so annoying, I can't find it.
What do you want to find?
I just want to see how many defences Stipe's got.
I'll just go to whichever. What we got? Sure, dog.
Because, but yeah, I don't think... But the thing is with that fight contract that Jones has signed, the 8-fight contract, I don't think he's even going to be able to fulfill that. Because if he's only fighting once, maybe twice a year, that means...
It's drawn out, isn't it?
He won't be...
Okay.
His contract won't be up till 2028 or something.
Exactly.
And he's going to be almost 40 by then or something.
Yeah, but Glover's 42.
True.
So...
True.
You've got Stipe...
4 times.
Here we go. Yeah. So Stipe beat Verdum, right? 198. Then he beat Overeem at 203. He beat JDS, that was it, JDS at 211. Francis Ngannou at 220. Lost to Cormier because it was that real short punch, wasn't it, that sort of knocked him sideways. Then he beat Cormier twice after that. But obviously that was only... So you got the belt and Overeem, JDS and Ngannou. So there's 3... So 3 defences.
3 defensive. Right, okay.
So Jon Jones could hold all the records. He could have all the marbles.
Yeah, and being he's signed that contract, there's possibilities that he can defend that easily.
When did he sign that contract?
Quite recently. I don't know exactly when, but I think it's an 8-fight contract.
And Ngannou did exactly the opposite.
Yeah, well, there was, because I think Jones was asked about what he thought about Ngannou leaving, and Jones kind of empathised with him and said that, kind of he knows what he's worth and do your thing. And he said that he wasn't happy at times with the UFC and his salary and stuff. So,
mate, it's interesting. Man, he's making a stand.
Yeah. What do you think he's going to do now, Ngannou?
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, because of he's such a spectacle and he's such a man mountain, that the world is his oyster. Like, I don't think he's got the same. I don't know if he's got the same sort of peak as, say, a Conor. Because we've been watching Conor get beat and beat and beat for the last few fights. That you're like, you still tune in, you're still going to watch it.
Yeah, of course.
Whereas I think Ngannou's got a good few in front of him, because obviously it was always a question about his wrestling or about his cardio or whatever it was. Whereas Conor's not necessarily had them same questions. Whereas with Ngannou, if he nips over to, let's say he goes PFL, wins the massive check, there's nothing really stopping him doing whatever he wants, because he's kind of he's at peace with himself for what he wants to do, because he just wants to be paid what he's worth. And he doesn't want to be restricted. Like, a lot of the things he was saying was about other fighters, and that we've got room to be sponsored and room for this. And the thing is, it's kind of pushing him back against the system a little bit. He's a bit like Katniss Everdeen, isn't he, off of Hunger Games? Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Making a bit of a stand. And I've got to admire it, because if it was the fame, then the UFC is the place to be. But he's been there, he's done it.
Yeah, he's made his name anyway. I personally, I think he's going to go boxing.
Do you think?
Yeah, I don't think he's going to fight MMA next. I think he wants to go into boxing.
How do you see that going?
Well, he said he wants to either fight Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, didn't he?
Yeah, but I want a Ferrari. It don't mean it's going to fucking happen.
Yeah, I know, but I'm not saying that will happen. I'm saying that I think his intentions are to go into boxing.
I think,
just from what I've read, I don't know that, but
I don't know. I think the first time he jumps in, like if we use, for example,
imagine him against like Deontay Wilder. That'd be nuts.
It would be, but Deontay, boxing footwork and boxing range and motion, it's a fucking mile apart. I mean, obviously it's not like he's not skilled. He can hit. I'm not taking anything away from Francis. But if you look at like when Anthony Pettis was ruling WEC, he had the famous off the cage kick against Benson Henderson, okay? Came over to the UFC and they were going to make this title fight, because obviously it was all the smaller weight classes coming over. And I can't remember what had happened, but they were going to make a fight when he came over for Pettis, because something happened that basically he ended up fighting Clay Guida.
Right.
So they said, do you just want to fight Clay in the meantime? And he's like, yeah, I'll do that. And Clay dominated him, because Clay is an insane wrestler. And obviously back in the day, he had a point to prove, he had the cardio, all the rest of it, and he smashed him to bits. So it kind of quashed that Anthony Pettis. I know he came back and obviously he was the Wheaties box and all the rest of it, but that initial sort of dive over to something a bit bigger, he got his legs taken out straight away. And I think I just don't see the boxing footwork from Ngannou. I mean, he might just catch him. He's a big dude. Yeah,
that's his thing, though, isn't it? I mean, I think in boxing, the thing is without boxing. The thing is in boxing, he hasn't got to worry about anyone taking him down, and I think his knees are a bit shot.
Yeah, they were both bandaged up, weren't they?
Yeah, and I know obviously he had that big surgery as well. That's part of like the whole reason he was out for so long. But yeah, I don't know. I think he thinks he can do really well in boxing, because like you're saying, like just that style, he can just march people down and just hit them with one shot. That's all he needs to land.
Yeah. But
and I understand like the technical, like him competing against someone like Tyson Fury, like boxing is nuts. But he's always got that one punch
Yeah,
lands,
yeah.
and
I'm not saying I wouldn't watch it. I would watch the shit out of it, but it's like, you know, if Conor had to fight a couple of boxers before he went for Mayweather, I think your interest would slightly wane, because if a mid-level boxer could have stopped Conor or he didn't beat him, then that magic ticket's gone. And I think for Ngannou, I mean, it'd be interesting. It'd be a massive learning curve. There is a massive chance that he could land a punch, but it's not the same thing. There's so many. In my opinion, it's a world apart, and it's kind of scary.
It is, yeah. I don't think he'll have like majors. I don't think he'd be like a heavyweight champion or anything. But it's like an exhibition fight, you know, against Tyson Fury or something like that.
Yeah, I mean,
or I don't know, do like a 4-ounce glove boxing fight, Tyson Fury
straight
and
murder.
Ngannou.
Could you imagine him slap fighting? Could you imagine Ngannou on Powerslap?
What, Ngannou on Powerslap?
Imagine.
Oh my God, I don't think they'd let him.
You wouldn't
Kill someone.
I don't think anyone's as tall or as big as. Imagine his opponent just looking up like, yeah, I'm out. I'm done. Because I was going to bring that up. What do you think? Because obviously that went live. I think that goes live today, Powerslap.
Oh, does it? Oh, okay.
And I've seen loads of negative, some positive. Obviously, a lot of the positive are UFC employees that are like looking for a bonus. But I saw an interview with Dana. And obviously for years we've been used to him playing, like just doing the aggro thing, like, if you don't like it, don't watch it. And you're like, okay, I get it. But at the same time he was going, in MMA, now bear in mind, I have been guilty of this, that I would justify the sport that I love to anyone. And I think over the past, say, 15, 20 years, we've been making some sort of headway that it's not barbaric, it's not brutal, it's good, it's skilled. It's still not completely changed. People still think that it's a fucking cockfighting blood sport, but we're making headway.
Yeah, for sure.
But CT is a real thing. Obviously, fighter safety is a real thing, and it's been a massive concern, right? Because like when you look at American football and stuff like that, you know what they've realized, and they're wearing helmets.
Yeah. Yeah, sorry, go on.
No. Basically, what he was saying was, in fighting, they get shot, they get punched 400, 300, 400 times. If you don't like it, don't watch it. And I was thinking, yeah, but dude, that's not a free shot. Like, you might get cuffed. Obviously, people are rolling punches. They've got guard, they've got defense. To literally stand there and take a free shot from someone giving it you full twat, just full on. How much money would you want to be paid for taking a smack off someone?
Yeah. It's really... the thing that makes me laugh, especially on the promo videos, it cuts away to like the crowd, and there's like one guy who's obviously just been fighting or been slapped. He's got like a massive swell on the side of his face, like...
like a tumour, just here. But, I mean, the thing is, obviously I've always justified UFC, MMA. I've always defended it. And I think I still can. I still will stand by it. I love the sport. But like the danger of this fight, this slap league is so short-lived, because you only have to catch someone, like, you know, with the ball of your thumb. Imagine hitting someone in a temple, because the amount of boxers that have fallen over funny, and because there was already a blood clot or whatever, that it's killed them. Like, and that's in a boxing match that can rarely be justified. Obviously, it's a sport, but it has happened. Whereas with this, you only have to catch someone wrong, and it's like, I don't know. Like, can you remember back at school you'd play the What Would You game? And the What Would You game, when I was at school, there was no internet. So like, you'd start off, what would you do? Would you suck a donkey's dick for £1 million? And part of you'd be like, do you know what? I know it's shameful, but I've got £1 million at the end of the day. So you're like, okay, fair enough. But I'm not saying I'd suck a donkey's dick, but when the internet came out, that what would you changed from money, because someone on the internet would suck a donkey's dick for less than £1 million. They'd do it for views. So it became about being famous. And the problem with that is that the currency is getting less and less, because you've got your Love Islands and Big Brothers and all this shit that essentially people are wanting to be on this platform. So the guys that are now part and forming this slap league, it's like the what would you clout has gone out the window, because like, how much would you need to be paid to get concussion. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's like,
well, it's just the thing is, it's kind of I'm so annoyed that the UFC are promoting it as well, because like UFC is martial arts. It's like, you know, it's a heavily practiced sport, and you know, people dedicate their whole lives to it. But I don't know, it's literally a slap in the face, I think, to like martial artists, because I don't know, it's just such a ridiculous thing to promote. And like you said, like there's no real skill to it, even though,
no,
you know what I mean, anyone could do it, really. I get.
And just because you can do it doesn't mean you should.
Yeah.
And that's where, you know, when Dana acts like the angry toddler, like there's so many sides to him. Like when he's defensive of his sport and he is passionate and he's backing up and saying, look, we've got these tests and we look after our fighters, CTE is important, blah, 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 all this stuff. And he's like, he's saying the right things. But then just because someone disagrees with him, because common sense tells you that's probably a fucking stupid idea, bro, he gets overly defensive. He's like, you don't like it, don't watch it. And you think, that's not a thing.
Because he knows it's a stupid idea.
But that's not that's not an excuse. Do you know what I mean? Because like, where do we draw the line? So you got Powerslap, right? If I invent a league called, I don't know, Dick Kick, like how many times can you be kicked in the balls before you drop to your knees? Because it's the same thing, like Power Flick or Nasty Pinch.
Did you ever play, like if you played football, did you ever a game called Red Arse?
What, where you, like the wall? You'd stand in the
so
wall.
you'd play like heads and volleys, and then if they score the, what was it? Oh, I can't remember. Yeah, it was part heads and volleys. But anyway, if you lost, you'd have everyone took a penalty at your arse, and you were in goal. It's kind of like making that into like a professional sport. Yeah,
or,
you know what I mean?
Or slapsies. Can you remember playing?
Yeah,
when you play slap, or we do rap. I've still got scars on my hand from playing raps. So it's like cards, a deck of cards, and then someone would just push out and just go and like digging. But the thing is, it's not a professional sport. It's not a thing that you could be like. I know kids that can't use their fingers now that were at school with me because of fucking raps.
Yeah.
It's a bad idea. It's really fucking stupid. So, I think if someone came along and made a ball kicking league, you'd be like, this is a joke. It's a circus. But it's curiosity, innit? And I suppose, I can't say I won't watch it because I'm not intentionally watch it, but it will be on my feed. So I'm sure, because there was the one that, it wasn't the UFC, but it was out at the beginning of this week, and it was like a championship fight, and this guy gets hit. So he's like a millisecond of getting knocked out, and he survives it, but he's kind of wobbled, and he's like, I think he hit me up here, and his face is, he looks like a cartoon, do you know what I mean? Like a wee bear's panda, just fully fucking banged up. And as much as I appreciate Dana's selling techniques and tactics and just what he's achieved, like, to get behind this for what reason?
Yeah.
You're above and beyond a billionaire. You've always, like, even when Bare Knuckle came out, he's like, that's brutal. You go, is it, Dana? Is it? Why don't you give someone an absolute free shot? I mean, if you wanted to justify it, let someone slap him. Let just one crack. Just like a...
Yeah, it's just people like seeing people get knocked out, and that's pretty much it, isn't it? It's just that's all it's got to it.
Yeah, but it's that shock factor, isn't it? Is that's all it is?
Yeah, but after the fifth,
let's say
I don't think they do themselves favors. Well, every highlight reel is just someone getting knocked out. That's like the promotion thing, is just getting knocked out. But if you watch one, they'll probably have like 3 or 4 rounds, like slap, and he's like wobbling a bit, and a bit he's still going. And another slap, he's wobbling a bit and getting still going.
Yeah, but that's the Russian roulette, isn't it? It's like,
it's just Is
it entertainment?
No.
Do you think it will last? Do you think there are the dangers? I believe the dangers outweigh the benefits.
I don't think it will be. I think it will become like
an Olympic sport,
Big Brother. So the first 2 seasons, 3 seasons, people were like, "Yeah, Big Brother's back." Yeah. And then by the 10th, people were like, "Oh,
is it?
Oh,
it's
Big
finished.
Brother's still going."
Did he win? Yeah. I know what you're saying.
You know what I mean? I think it will either become something like that where it just or it will be a massive flop after the first, like. Is it going to be in seasons, like a league, or I
don't know where they've got these people from. Where it's just like, right, so hear me out. You're going to stand at a table, in a nylon shirt. Oh, what? Nylon. Polyester. Polyester, it's all right. You'd be a bit sweaty, it'd be a bit smelly, but it's nice. It's like a neon blue. Oh, yeah, wicked. I'll wear that. What's happening? You're going to take in turns slapping each other in the chops. It's like, till when? Oh, well, till when one of you's knocked out. It's like, okay. Yeah, cool. Can I be called Hands of Steel? No, that's gone, mate. You can be called Johnny the Killer. And
it's like pub talk. It's like three blokes in a pub, like drunk, like, we'll start this slap league. It'll be great.
Yeah, exactly. And then they've got a little table, and then they've gone, are we really doing this?
Yeah.
I know a hookup for a guy that makes polyester T-shirts. Do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
I don't know, like, what do you get behind? I can just see it, not to quote my grandma, but I can see it all ending in tears. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And just, I mean, when you've seen some of them get knocked out and just the way they fall back, you're so close to.
There's a guy there to catch him, though.
Yeah, but even so,
Yeah, no.
if you're catching a dead body, you're catching a dead body. Do you know what I mean? And that's.
Yeah, it's pretty insane. Pretty insane.
Wait till the action figures come out and like the kids' version.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like.
Slap action arm.
Yeah. Well, mate, we got tango. Like the tango slap was banned at our school because they was doing damage to kids' eardrums.
Yeah, I think there was like happy slapping that
Yeah.
went round.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's basically like that, isn't it? It's just made happy slapping into a sport.
Yeah, but it's sport. Can we say sport?
Well,
Is it classed as a sport?
Yeah, okay, a TV show.
No, is it? Is it literally classed as a sport, do you think?
Well, it's competitive, so I guess what's the definition of sport? As
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose so. You've got
two
darts, ain't
people
you?
competing to try and win something. So I guess, but I won't class it as a sport. Like I won't class like golf as a sport.
Yeah, obviously UFC.
No offense if you play golf, but
Yeah, I'm not into golf. But I mean, UFC were notorious for being quite tight on the purse strings. I'd be keen to know because, I mean, I don't know what he's got to make out of it really, because obviously he's always rich. He's already richer than can be imagined, and he's already mad famous for being this polarizing figure. So, I mean, to go and tie your flag to this is just,
yeah.
I don't know. And obviously, if you guys watch it, if you're into it, if you think it's the best and you can defend it like I used to defend the UFC, then yeah, go for it. So put it in the comments. But I just think it's so backwards to where we've got to, like with obviously the CT and just the safety. It's one of them, man. It's scary because like a cold cocked free slap is so much different to Nate Diaz, like Stockton slapping you in the cage when you've got something to at least sort of have a bit of defence.
That's not intentionally trying to knock you out though. That's just like, oh, I got you. Fuck you.
Mate, yeah, exactly. Exactly. That's what a slap's all about. A slap is a very, there you go.
Yeah.
Have one of them. But mate, some of these
It's to put some, well, from the fighting aspect, I suppose it's like the way Nate Diaz used it is to put someone in their place.
Yes.
It's like, oh, I slapped you. What are you going to do about it?
Yeah, mate. I'm looking forward to like mega flick. You know what I mean? Or like nasty pinch. Like, or Chinese burns. Could you imagine tuning in on a Saturday night and just seeing someone really twisting someone's forearm? It's like, there you go, motherfucker. Tapping out to a Chinese burn. Because did you see they did X-arm? I think me and Dan spoke about it a couple of times. An X-arm was it looked very similar, same table, but they were handcuffed together with one arm and then the other arm to sort of just wail on each other.
I've seen that, yeah. And they're like jumping over trying to get the
But that came and went. I think there's half a dozen clips of it. And it feels really similar to this. Early stages, it feels very, very similar to the Powerslap, whereas it's got a massive promotion behind it, really bright, really colourful. Looks like a Gladiators set from Wish, where it's a bit like they've got these neon pajamas on. It's so similar to it. It might be the same table without the handcuffs, but it's just, it might just go to nothing. Because I don't see other than UFC, because it's on Fight Pass. So not to promote it, but like if you're already part of UFC, you're going to be tuning in anyway, or it's going to be there available for you. Do you think it's going to get many more people to subscribe to Fight Pass for the curiosity of slap fighting?
I don't think it's like beneficial to the UFC at all, really. Like, why would you do it?
Kind of cheapens it for me.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? just because I'm just
It
not.
cheapens UFC for sure.
Yeah, and I wouldn't train him slap fighting. What are they doing? Are they just like just working on technique?
Yeah, it's just, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Interesting though.
But yeah. Should we talk about the fights for the weekend instead?
Well, what do you want to do? Because we've already done Glover. So do you
yeah,
want
we've
to
done
do
Glover,
the ones?
but I wanted to get your thoughts on Shogun because
dude.
it's his last fight.
Oh, really?
And I wasn't really into MMA and as a sport when Shogun was like big,
Dude.
So like that, obviously Dan talked about Shogun like Pride Days
Mate.
and everything, and like he was like, yeah, the best at one point. So
Yeah, sure.
yeah, I just wanted to get your thoughts on him and what do you think to his last fight?
It's kind of, I think, because his career, I think he was scheduled to fight not long ago and dropped off. And obviously now he's having this last fight. It's always difficult when you've not had the swan song of, like with Bisping, he won the belt, fought Henderson, fought GSP, fought Gastelum, and then that was it. It's like, I've had enough. But it kind of made a good series because you're getting ready for his last fight. I mean, no, was his last fight Gastelum? I think it was, wasn't it?
What, before this?
No, Bisping. So when Bisping finished,
right. Oh, sorry. Yeah, he got
sparked by Gastelum. I think that was it, right? Either way.
Let me just bring this weekend's card up.
But it was kind of, because he was relevant for most weeks, it was good. Whereas when you say Shogun's back, like when I was doing the picks, when I was doing the graphics, I was like, oh shit, Shogun's fighting.
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah,
Then
yeah.
I saw him and in his physical form, and I was like, oh, who are you looking for?
Oh, is he the headline prelim?
Who?
Shogun.
Probably.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah. So, I mean, that's primo.
Yeah.
That's primo Shogun, right? So, UFC 128.
Yeah.
That's a long time ago, and that was probably against Lyoto Machida or Jon Jones or some shit like that. Or
Well, yeah,
Rashad.
I was looking at his record. It's like the people he's fought.
I mean, he's fought,
Insane.
If you haven't seen him against Dan Henderson,
Yeah, because they
Fuck
were
me.
talking about on Ariel's show last night. They were talking about his two. Well, he had one in his first. He had two fights against Dan Henderson, didn't he?
yeah, there was UFC one, the
Yeah.
first UFC one, which was honestly,
Where is it? Oh, so he lost the first one.
I don't think he did, but yeah, they said
right,
he did.
okay.
So, mate,
I
it
need
was,
to watch
it
all
was
these.
fucking close, man. But the scary thing was, so you had Ninja and Shogun, him and his brother, kind of taking over Pride, just with these crazy white shorts with a Shogun Assassin mask on it in neon blue and green, like fucking ugly, but iconic. And whenever you saw him, he was just a savage. So the thing is, when he came over from Pride, and the first person they gave him was Forrest, and Forrest actually beat him. It was like a massive upset.
Oh, in the UFC.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So when he came over, it was a massive upset, but
bring that back
he
up.
was still.
Oh, okay, so.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Oh wait, that was his. Here it is.
So yeah,
UFC 76.
I thought it was Forrest. Yeah, it's Forrest, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So he got choked out, beat Mark Coleman, but Mark Coleman looked like a lobster. It looked like he'd been on like 15 sunbeds.
I was going to say that's 2009, Mark Coleman.
Yeah, which is he just needed a paycheck. So the Chuck Liddell, that was when Chuck was on his way down, and
Right,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
that was
yeah.
like 4 or 5 after.
This
That was
is
just
like
before Rich.
the end of that era of heavyweights.
Light heavyweights, yeah. So you got Chuck on the way out, and kind of Shogun was, because obviously Chuck was holding the belt for a long time, and he went on a bit of a tour of like getting his old losses back. So he went and smashed up Jeremy Horn, and then tried to beat Rampage, and that didn't go well. So then Chuck was on his way down, and the first fight against Lyoto Machida was really close. And it gave him that much confidence. Like if you watch him in the second fight, he walks down Machida, and he's literally, every time he misses, like he had this thing where he put his arms up. He's like, fucking missing for days, brother. You know, like you see who's the boxer who like looks over his shoulders, or is it Cody Garbrandt?
Mayweather does.
Mayweather,
Oh yeah, Cody's
He's
done
like,
it.
looked
Yeah,
over
yeah.
his shoulder. Well, Shogun's was like, he just put his hands up as if to say, it's all good. It's all good. I'm going to fucking clap you. And he made Lyoto Machida. This was, so the Lyoto Machida, when he won the belt off of Chuck, Lyoto Machida won it off of Rashad. Joe Rogan was like, it's the Lyoto Machida era, it's the Dragon era. It was not for fucking long, because obviously Shogun got hold of him, because the second time he smashed him, then Jon Jones...
first round knockout.
And that's when Jon Jones won the belt as the youngest champ.
Yeah. That where he was just elbowing him.
Yes, yeah.
Right.
Because Jon Jones, obviously, when Jon Jones fought Machida, it looked like he killed him, because he guillotined him up against the cage.
Yeah, that's probably one of the nastiest. Because loads of people have been sharing Jon Jones highlights recently on Instagram, and some of his finishes are just savage.
Mate, back in the day, it was filth. It was like, I'm going to kill you.
Insane.
Yeah. Well, look at when he was raking Glover's arms and shoulders.
Yeah.
So where were we? So Jon obviously lost the belt. Forrest, that was such a close fight, mad close. And then obviously you start to see a bit of the decline. Like,
so he lost twice to Dan Henderson.
Yeah, and no disrespect to Tahuna, but when you're looking at people like Gustafsson, Henderson, Sonnen, and the St. Preux was like the skateboard, the skateboard gif, which was kind of mad out of character because it was one of those big shots. But against Nog, Corey Anderson was still, Corey Anderson's a player over in Bellator.
Yeah.
Jean Vellante, let's be honest.
But this is like,
he's tired.
this is now 2017, this is when Shogun's like kind of...
He's done.
Yeah.
Not in a, but in like in a championship sort of like world.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
He's become like the people pass on their way to the top. Well, pass or may not pass.
But this is that thing. Did he get what Glover got, where he got content with, I did it. The belt's on the mantelpiece. I made a good showing of myself. I won fair and square. I did a good job. I got to the top. And Glover feels like he's sat back into it, but he's still that wily old man, as if to say, I can still fuck you up. And I know that Shogun is, but Shogun had a few rocky places. And the problem is, what you got to remember is, Shogun was part of Shooter Box.
Yeah.
And they trained fucking hard. It wasn't like it was, we'll take it easy this week, boys. They were all killers. I'd be scared to walk into that gym back in the day, when you've got all the main guys there. So, like, you can't take anything away from his history. Yeah. But I mean, losing to St. Preux when neither of them fell on a skateboard, it didn't look like the same Shogun.
Yeah. I mean, this is his last fight, and he's fighting Ihor Poteri, who's like a bit of a, well, I think he's only had one fight in the UFC before this.
Yeah.
And yeah.
But he's not looking bad, is
18-3.
So he's coming to make a massive name for himself.
Okay, so he lost he's off the contender series. He lost his debut against Nega Mariano, and now he's fighting Shogun.
Yeah. So the thing is, this is positive for Shogun, because Shogun's knees are legendary.
Yeah.
And his counterpunch was, because when you look at him now, like when I did the graphic of him, he's fully just settled into that dad bod, and that's just a natural thing. Obviously, I think he's a similar age to me, and it's just it's one of those things that it just doesn't look the same as it normally does without any of the magic powder. So when you look at how he's still achieving and fighting, and he's being relevant.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see him. I love watching him. I've always been a massive fan. You can't help but love him. But it was just, yeah.
Good career, and hopefully gets a win on his last fight, I guess.
Yeah, I mean they're not giving him an easy out, are they?
But it was like Frankie Edgar as well.
Dude,
like damn, that was a. I mean, yeah, doesn't take anything away from him, but it's just like when someone like that retires, you want to see him kind of go out on a high.
Well, it's that Veterans League. There's that Veterans League that we've all spoke about so many times.
Yeah,
because you've got so many people that still want to. Even like Chuck. So Chuck mentioning about Jake Paul, feeling like he's got a good go. It'd be still nice to see him compete in some sort of caliber, but in a Veterans League, because it's not the same danger. Do you know what I mean? Like when Tyson fought, was it a couple of years ago when Tyson had a bit of an exhibition fight?
Oh, Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And it just felt like everyone was getting what they wanted. They were getting a bit of Mike Tyson again, but they were also getting like...
Who did he fight? Evander, was it?
No, I can't remember. I can't remember.
Wasn't it Holyfield? Evander?
It could have been. No. It wasn't the airbite. It was recent, or not recent.
Yeah.
But it was one of them where it was still ticking that box. You still saw in the walkout, he still got a little bit of that like magic. There was still shadows of the former self, but it was interesting. But it wasn't like you've got Tyson against, I don't know, Fury. Do you know what I mean? Because Tyson's got a chance of knocking him out, but he's also got a massive chance of getting brain damage. So I think the veteran side of thing, I wouldn't be against seeing like even if it's 3 2-minute rounds.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So when you've got, I don't know, anyone that's retired, like when you've got the Randys and the Tim Sylvias.
I'm surprised. I suppose there is that element of, but then if you're medically cleared to fight, you know, why not? I mean, aren't PFL doing it anyway? They're creating like a veterans league.
Are they?
I think so.
That'd be good. That'd
like
be really
a super fight league, something like that. But yeah, I'm surprised UFC haven't set that up like a veterans league.
Yeah.
Where you can, you know, if you, like you said, if you're medically cleared to fight and you still want to fight, you're fighting someone at a similar level to you. Yeah. And
like
why not?
4 2-minute rounds.
I'd rather see that than friggin' power slapping anyway.
All day. Because the thing is that they've got the I don't know, they've got the background, they've got the history. People still want to tune in and see him. Like people like Machida, when Machida's retired, he's gone over to Bellator or wherever he's gone, and he's getting smashed out. And it's like, it's not taking anything away from the people that are doing it, because obviously they're young, and there's always going to be young up and coming people, but they are essentially making a name off of it. Whereas realistically, I still want to see Lyoto Machida fight, or I still want to see Randy compete, or Chael Sonnen, or whoever it is. I still want to see him having a little bit of a go, because I know they've got the skills, but we've got to be realistic. Like, how old is Shogun? Just go back.
I think
I wrote it on the thing now. Okay. Is he 43?
He is 41.
He's my age. Me. Yeah, I'm older than him. I'm older than Shogun. What the fuck? So, and I'm classing him as this dad bod old fucking washed up dude. But, mate, like, your body's not the same. You can't do the same shit. Like, there's certain bits that,
especially if like
you've
an
done
MMA
it for 25
fight,
years. Yeah, exactly.
It's like just generally, but doing that sport's a different thing, isn't it?
Yeah, but, I mean, his brother. I'll never forget. His brother, I think, fought Tom Kong in Cage Warriors or Bama or something. And his brother was always the more, like, in my opinion, the times I watched him, he was a bit more vicious, a bit more brutal. Like, there was not a lot behind, like, just fucking a killer. Like, he'd spent too long with Vanderlei. And he retired. He retired when Bama finished. And I was like, what the fuck are you doing? But really, his knees probably still work, whereas Shogun's struggling to do his shoelaces up.
It was fun seeing him, because he was on the Embedded briefly backstage, but it was like Figueiredo was like, oh, you're the reason why I got into like MMA and stuff.
Exactly.
And we used to practice your moves in like the back garden with my brother, and that was pretty cool.
It's amazing, because that experience for him would be so, like, it's such a nice thing to hear, but at the same time it's really sad, because you know it's over. So as a person that has inspired someone, it must be a nice feeling. But at the same time, he was probably inspired by Mark Coleman or whoever it was, and obviously he was the one that finished Mark Coleman's career. So like the transition, the train doesn't stop, and it's so sad, because like you know when you watch football and you see all of the people that you would watch as kids growing up, and they're now pundits, or they're all part of something. They drop into management roles, or they're coaches. It seemed that world sort of seems to scoop up a lot more of the talent to try and pass it on. Whereas because MMA is, I don't know, it's quite broken, that you don't necessarily see the right people doing the right roles. Like Rich Franklin would have been an incredible judge. I know he does a lot of work with one, but actually to have a judge that you can trust and rely on and know is legit, rather than some fucking idiot that passed a test.
Well, yeah, that's what, I mean, Dan spoke about that quite often. It's like people who are judging fights and reffing fights, ideally you'd want them to be ex-fighters.
Mate, that's it.
Because they know subtle differences that someone...
They can see so many little...
Who did a course on, you know what I mean? Yeah.
Well, look at Frank Trigg. Frank Trigg was reffing the other day. Amazing. We have got hundreds, if not thousands, of fighters that would be... I mean, I'm not saying that you get fucking Crazy Horse in to be a ref, But at the
Yeah.
same time, there's certain people that you could definitely lean on and be like, you'd be a fucking awesome ref. And the majority of people, majority of fighters either know their camp or who they are or whatever. So even if they like look, I'm not saying to be biased, but you know, like if let's say Shogun becomes a ref and there's a Brazilian corner and he knows that this guy's nearly out, like he's giving him one last chance, and he looks at their head coach and he's like, bro, you know and I know, you fucking tell him, because it's more of a compact, and like I say, I don't want it to be biased. I don't want people to do it to go full James Krause, but I want it to be like I think they're not being used in the right place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's odd though, because like, it's funny you say that, and I know I was just thinking about football. Like when you look at officials in football matches, I don't think many of them are like ex-professional footballers.
They wish they were.
Oh yeah, I mean that's probably why they're refs.
And I think it is. And I think because you've got to be anal, haven't you? Really, really anal with that sort of thing.
You've either So I guess maybe it's like you never see David Beckham being a referee.
No,
you know what I mean. Like, and you wouldn't
unless
probably see Anderson Silva become a ref. Like I don't know what it is.
I could see him being a judge, or I could see him being involved in some key core part of something that he didn't get when he needed it, or he missed out on, that he was like, this should be a thing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
they probably know how to do it. They probably just don't.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, look, Dan's done the course. And then you've got people cropping up like Frank Trigg. So
hello. Yeah. Sorry, I thought my mic went out then.
I think there are certain people, like you say, that you probably wouldn't see Ngannou be a ref, but like Randy Couture, I could see being a ref or a coach. Or he's a coach, or a judge, and I don't know. I don't know where. Like, I don't want there to be like just this fucking like Lemmings cliff of just. Well, your career's done. Woo, let's go.
Dana White's just
stood there taking the money. Taking them to the train station, like rip off a fucking Yellowstone. Like, give me money, give me all your stuff. See you later. And they're not like just dispensable things, because. You imagine the amount of knowledge and everything that he's got, and it's done.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of, I imagine majority of fighters just go into coaching or, teaching and stuff, unless you're Stipe, and then you can save people's lives from fires.
Well, he's never stopped being a fireman, has he? Which is even more insane.
Yeah, on his interview yesterday, he was, because he's, obviously he's had a bit of time out, he's just been working as a firefighter. And he does like 24-hour shifts, like 3 days a week. Yeah.
Had a couple of kids.
Yeah. It's cool, isn't it?
It is. I mean, the thing is, people like that, they are, as much as Jon Jones is a phenomenon as a fighter, he used all his credits and all his attributes as a fighter. The other side, barren. Like, he hasn't used any of those credits to go, right, head movement, okay, right, role model. Ooh, keep that one. Do you know what I mean? So when you got someone like Stipe, who, I mean, he should have been pushed more really, because he was flying the flag massively. All-American hero, literally Captain America. He's a fireman.
People like the bad guy though, don't they?
They do. And the problem is, it happens a lot. I mean, you look at the co-main on this, you've got Figueiredo against Moreno.
Yeah.
There's got to be a massive split there with people that are just desperate to see that Tasmanian devil unleash on.
Yeah, he's
Moreno.
A scary guy, Figueiredo is. He always looks like he could. He's just got a look in his eye. Like, even when you watch him on the embeddeds, it's like a, yeah.
Could look like he could just go off the handle.
Mm-hmm,
Imagine if he was like a 185 or a 205. Yeah. I think when he was made, they were like, no, the maximum we can go is like 5'5", because if we stretch this guy out, there's going to be another fucking war. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's just too unpredictable. Whereas they can contain him as a smaller dude. They're like, listen.
Yeah. I mean, this weekend's fights, well, obviously it's in Brazil, and it was pretty cool on the embedded seeing all the Brazilian fighters together. Nice. And I was thinking, like, imagine if, like, I know I had like Charles Oliveira on it and Amanda Nunes.
It just seemed like a missed opportunity, didn't it?
Into like a massive card.
Yeah.
Like, in terms of like the superstars that Brazil have got.
Well, it seems like they missed a trick, because it's not like they go, oh, we're coming back next week. Do you know what I mean? Like, they haven't been out of the country other than, well, they did London and they've done a few here and there, but it's not like they've gone
Well,
to Brazil.
it's the same with the London card as well. If you look at how many British fighters that aren't on there, like Aspinall's not on it, Paddy's not on it, Molly's not on it, Arnold Allen's not on it. It's like Leon Edwards and Usman, obviously, for the
Is
main
Jack
event.
Shaw on there?
Yeah, I think Jack Shaw is. I think. Let's have a look, actually.
It just seems a bit daft. Like, I don't know.
But I guess the thing is, like,
There's a lot of moving parts, isn't there?
Because it's a pay-per-view in London, I don't think many people are that. What's it? 286. Yeah. I don't think many people are. Yeah. I don't think many people are that bothered. That all these stars aren't on it, but
Who we got?
yeah. So you got Gaethje, Fiziev.
That's going to be good.
That's wicked. Vittori, Delidze, yeah. It is a really good card. It's just they've not included like the big stars. I know Aspinall's, I think, still out, and
they've put
Paddy and Molly have just recently fought.
two of them against each other.
Yeah, I
Lady
thought Arnold
V.
Allen maybe. Yeah, Veronica's on it. Second fight of the prelims.
Nice.
See, Mokaev is on it, which is sick. Mokaev's awesome.
You spent some
I
time
don't think
with
he
him,
was
haven't
on this card, but yeah, he's so good. I think he'll be champ one day for sure.
This day, what, 2020? Come on, get the soundbite now so we can cut back 24.
Let me just have a look, because I think he's ranked now, isn't he? So I'm just going on a bit of a.
You crack on.
He's I think he's ranked now, flyweight. Where is it?
Who are we looking for? Mokaev.
Yeah, Mokaev, men's flyweight. Where is it? Oh, yeah, sorry. Figueiredo. Yeah, so he's 13. If he beats... Who's he fighting? Yeah. Oh, so the guy he's fighting's unranked.
Okay, but it's still not going to put him in bad
But
stead.
that'll put him in 4-0 in the UFC. I don't think... His ranking might not change. But, man, I think if you fight someone like Manel Cap next, and then... Oh, Matt Schnell.
Oh, Schnell, yeah.
Yeah. Like if he fights a top 10 after this fight, then I think he's only two, because he's already called out Kai Kara France.
But I think that's the best thing about the London side of things, because he's obviously living here.
Yeah.
And he's on the London card. London makes a lot of noise.
Yeah.
If he can make a good showing on his next fight.
Yeah, because we were at the last UFC London. And when he came out, it was a massive, massive roar for him. He's got a big fan base.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
And if he can get on the back of that,
man, he's only like 20. I think he's 21, 22 as well.
But it'd be an interesting fight to jump him up against a Kai Kara, because if they know that they've got him there, and let's say Kai Kara France is slated to fight someone in the future, and then it drops out, he's always, because he's already shouted him out. Like Dana's always said, he loves people shouting for fights, loves people calling people out. So it's interesting, man. It is interesting. But like you say, it's strange when you look at the card that they go, yeah, we'll just leave this off. We don't need these guys.
No, I still think it's a wicked card. I just think they could have probably had a couple more, British, English stars on there.
Take us back to this weekend then, dude. So let's go back.
Right, yeah. So, I kind of went on a bit of a UFC London tangent there.
It's all good. You're used to it, aren't you guys? Podcasts are used to the tangent.
No, because obviously it's in Rio. Back to the original point. I just think they could have had a couple more. Same with the UFC London one. They could have had like Oliveira on there. And
they've got quite a few. I mean, there's quite a few.
I suppose it's hard to fit all that on one card, but
And it's the first. Well, what is it? It's like the third week in January. So you have to train all over Christmas.
Yeah.
It's probably an easier one to knock back to the UFC than a normal one. Not like when Ngannou said no, he's ducking people. He's scared. That man's not scared of fucking anything, man. So if we look at, we've already discussed this, but who are you taking in Figueiredo Moreno?
Figueiredo.
Really?
Yeah.
I think Moreno won the last one. I know he lost their fight, not his fight. Their last fight when he went to decision. I thought that Moreno won that. But
I'll have to watch it back, but
he's just not scared of him.
no, I don't think Moreno's scared of him. I think Figueiredo knows that by now.
But I think that makes a big difference. Like when you look at even Renan Barão, in Renan Barão, did you see him on his way up?
No.
He was he was like, on Ace Ventura 2, where they open that backpack and that guy comes out and he's like, a bit sketchy. That's what Renan Barão was like.
Yeah.
And he just was fucking people up. And I mean, it was pre-USADA and all the rest of it. But people were scared of him before it started. Whereas Moreno, he kind of nullified a lot of Figueiredo's attacking, in my opinion, because he seems very, when he's just like wiping his face, and his face is so. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
He just doesn't give a fuck. And I kind of like the geek side of him. I like that he's into Lego, and he seems like a really nice dude.
Yeah.
So I would love to see Moreno win that, because I think he should have won the last one.
Yeah, man, it's. I do like Moreno, yeah. I just think Figueiredo's going to win. I think they've both got ways of winning, of course, but I just think Figueiredo, if it was like out of 10, I think Figueiredo would win 6 and Moreno would have win 5. Sorry.
That's a weird 10, but it's cool. We can live with it.
Would have won 4.
Okay, so yeah, well,
so I think there's like just a slight advantage, and I think that's just down to like, I'm quoting Dan's War Room right now, but I think it's like down to the power advantage that Figueiredo's got. I think that's
okay.
I'm gonna go Figueiredo.
So what about Burns Magny?
Gilbert.
Just the age gap. Just you think
No,
that
I think
Magny's
Gilbert's. Well,
solid
yeah,
dude.
there is that. I think Neil Magny is kind of, is a bit further along in his career, but I just think Gilbert's better.
I think he's going to win because he's better, Owen.
Yeah.
You fucking idiot. Mate, I'm with you. I'm completely with you, because Neil Magny is always, he's been a gatekeeper for such a long time. And he's...
I think it's weird because... wait, what's Magny's record? Because, obviously Gilbert Burns has just come out off that mad fight against... I mean, Magny's coming off a win, and he did lose to Shavkat, which ain't a surprise. But yeah, I suppose if you take out Shavkat, he's beat Matt Griffin and he's beat Daniel D-Rod.
But he's beat Robbie Lawler.
Magny's wicked, yeah.
He's unassumingly wicked, I think. Because he's so long. I think I would say I would put 80% of my money on Gilbert and 20 on Neil Magny, just because Neil might just wrap him up.
Yeah.
And he might sub him. But that's only because Gilbert can be quite excitable.
Yeah, I think every time I make a pick on a fight, I'm never 100% towards one person, unless it's like,
Izzy and someone, or like Prohaska.
Yeah, but when it comes to championship fights, I think it can go either way, because both people who are fighting are both at a really high level.
Yeah,
but when it's
true.
like someone really high level, let's say they're making their debut in the UFC, but they've had previous career somewhere else and they're really high level and they're fighting like a kind of unknown.
Yeah.
I think, you can kind of be like, this guy's definitely going to win. But I think when it comes to...
I've never been able to bet, though.
Yeah, I think when it comes to like this kind of level, it's much harder to make picks. Like V was saying it on the podcast the other day, because it is hard to make picks sometimes because people are at such a similar level.
Yeah.
It's so hard to sway...
Yeah. I suppose
more than like 51% to, you know what I mean?
Especially when the information comes out so even, like with Figueiredo and Moreno. It's like, but he could, and but he could. It's so close. But, I mean, I think that Gilbert's probably going to do it, and I think he's going to dominate him and exhaust Neil Magny. But Neil Magny's got an incredible gas tank, and he's dangerous off his back, and he's got those gangly legs. I don't know. I think it'll be closer. It's either going to be closer or it's not. But it's I'd probably go with Jon Gilbert. I take Jessica Andrade as well.
Yeah, I got all the Brazilians, I think, in the.
Okay. Oh shit. Yeah, I'm going fully Brazilian.
Yeah, I've got full Brazilian in the main card, I think.
Even Johnny Walker. You taking Johnny Walker over Paul Craig?
I think so. Yeah.
I don't know. I think,
but then it's the same argument again. Like either of them Paul Craig could choke him out. Johnny Walker, you know.
And he's had a couple of devastating losses, hasn't he? Johnny Walker.
Johnny Walker, yeah.
You know that one where he got hit and he looked like someone had turned off one of those inflatable... You know them inflatable waving arm men? It's like someone had turned it off at the end of a shift and it just went like a cartoon.
Have you watched Nope?
No, I haven't.
Nope.
I started to watch it and then I can't remember why we never finished it.
It's really good.
It's the sci-fi one, isn't it? Where,
Yeah. It's really good. I watched it last night for the first time. And there's loads of those flailing arm.
Johnny Walkers.
Yeah. And it reminded me that Johnny Walker was fighting this weekend.
Yeah. And I've seen him train and he's doing spinning, flying kicks and all the funky shit. But I think Paul Craig is a bit more meat and potatoes. I know his striking isn't the best, but it's effective to a degree, but his grappling is fucking next level.
Yeah.
And with someone like Johnny Walker, I think because he moves so fast and he's so like twitch reaction, I think if Paul Craig can get him down, I think Johnny could probably work himself into a terrible position quite quickly.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I'd like to see Paul Craig win. I really like Paul Craig. But I think, I know Johnny's coming off, he's coming off a win now, isn't he? He got a win, but the previous ones were losses.
Yeah. Been a bit up and down, I think, recently.
Not Paul Craig.
Oh, sorry.
So Paul Craig lost his last one.
Are you on about Johnny Walker?
Johnny Walker.
Yeah, he's been a bit up and down. I think
But his losses have been a bit more...
He won his last one,
drastic.
against Kuchalaba.
Yeah, but it
checked him out.
Yeah.
But yeah, he got knocked out bad against Hill. And Santos, just lost the decision. So... But yeah, he has been knocked out a couple of times pretty bad. Ryan Spann.
Well, I'll take Paul Craig then if you're taking Johnny Walker.
I was saying, if you do want to check out the Outlawed Picks podcast as well.
It's up, yeah.
Dan and Veronica make all their picks for UFC 283.
And a bit more probably coherent than what we're doing because we're just having a chat about what the fights are.
He's better.
He's way betterer.
But no, check out the Outlaw Picks podcast for all of Dan and V's picks for this weekend.
And also let us know. Let us know who you're picking.
Yeah.
Because it's one of them. I'd like to get a little bit of a side league going just to see. Because the thing is, majority of the time I'm head and heart. And and because I've been following it for such a long time, like I'd feel bad to go against Shogun. Even though I've never met him and I don't know him and it doesn't matter, I don't want to jinx him. I don't want to make it so that if I think that he's not going to win, that it makes him less of a chance, which I know is fucking stupid. But I kind of feel like he's an icon in the sport and he deserves a bit more respect. So I hope that he wins. I hope he goes out on a beautiful swan song.
Well, I've got a little bit of trivia for you as well this week.
Oh, okay.
If we're gonna finish on the trivia stuff.
Is this because you flexed last week and smashed it out of the park? Okay, go on.
Okay, right. So it is a pretty tough one. I did say this to you before we started recording.
But you haven't told me the question. You have told me it's tough.
I haven't told you the question. Yeah, it is pretty tough. Can you? So obviously, because UFC this weekend's in Brazil, it's a Brazilian-related question. How many... Well, it's a two-part question.
Go on.
So the first part is, how many Brazilian UFC champions has there been? And go for it. Because it's a little bit... Because maybe two could class as not like official UFC champions because it was early days, but if you include them, you get bonus points.
So if I include the original...
If you include from UFC started to UFC now, how many Brazilian champions has there been?
In all the weight classes?
Yeah.
And women?
Yeah.
Oh, shit. Okay. So, Jose was the first...
you're naming them as well? Because this was
the
the second part of the question. Okay. If you can name them all, that's amazing.
I'm only using Jose because he opened that weight class. And obviously...
Yeah, so Jose Aldo.
So once Jose had it, he lost it to Conor. There's been no Brazilians that have won that one since, has there?
Well, that's kind of a bit of a trick because then Jose Aldo won it back.
Yeah, but that was...
So I was going to say, because there is some people on this list that have won it twice.
Champion, so if Jose, you're counting it as a champion twice. Once,
yeah. But if they've won it twice, it's still just the one.
Okay, so there's Jose in that weight class. So that's that weight class
Yeah,
done.
so Jose Aldo, yeah.
So then you've got, okay, what's jumping into my head? Cyborg.
Yep.
And Cyborg, there wasn't any other women Brazilian champions because, or was there?
Biggie.
Apart from Amanda Nunes, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm thinking that we're around the Ronda and the Holly Holm.
Ah, right, okay.
So Andrade, didn't she beat Rose?
Yep. Slammed her on her head.
Yeah. So then who else have we got? Obviously Anderson Silva.
Well, if you think about this weekend's card as well.
Oh yeah, like Shogun.
Yep, he's one.
Lyoto.
Yep.
Lyoto, Shogun. Bob Lusabro was never a champion in the UFC. Chuck Randy Tito, none of them. They didn't fight. Who else have we got? What's his name? You've got a list up here, by the way. I'm not looking at names.
One answer's on the screen, actually.
Yeah, glasses. Fucking, I can't remember his name. Just lost the UFC belt. Why can't I remember his name?
Glasses.
Yeah, white glasses. He's just lost the belt.
Oh, he's not fighting this
I keep wanting
weekend.
to say
though. I wish
Holloway,
he
and
was.
it's not Holloway because that's not his name. If you kept count, Oliveira, yeah,
Olives,
Oliveira, yeah. Okay, thank you. Appreciate the help. I know Oliveira.
You've got 7 so far, but you've still got a way to go in terms of naming them all. And how many do you think there is first in total?
Well, I've got heavyweight. I've got loads to go through. It's probably about 12, 15.
Okay, so there's not. You're close with 15.
So it was Rico one. Rodriguez.
Rodriguez, no.
Who was the ones in heavyweight when it was like the Pat Smith and all them sort of? Oh man, this could go on forever. Right.
Oh, sorry. Who did you say?
Rico Rodriguez.
Rico Rodriguez, no.
Pedro Hizzo.
No.
Pedro Hizzo was a heavyweight against.
So this list is from a mediocre source.
Okay, no worries.
But I'm pretty sure it's accurate because I did go through and count.
Have I got any other women that I've got to find?
No. So you said Cyborg, Amanda Nunes, and Jessica Andrade. They're the 3 Brazilian women.
And the Andrade wasn't a bad that because she was only about for 2 minutes, wasn't she?
Yeah,
with the belt.
So that's 3.
Okay.
And you've got.
Okay, so Henan Barao.
Yep, you got Barao. You got Aldo. You got Charles Oliveira. There's some really big ones. If you think middleweight.
Yeah, so I've already said Lyoto Machida, haven't I?
Yeah.
And I've already said Shogun.
Yeah.
Middleweight, Vitor.
Yeah.
Vanderlei never won a belt in the UFC.
Another really, really big middleweight.
I'm going to fucking kick myself. Middleweight, Brazilian. I said Anderson Silva earlier.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
We will have to listen to it, but yeah, I'm
kind
sure
of got the list here.
I think I went in and out of it
Right,
because I was
okay.
doing weight class. Then I went obviously Anderson Silva. I like the spider though. That was good. It's like the Pedro Hizzo era, the early days. Oh man.
So let me just count up, see how many you've got so far. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I to be honest, I put Amanda Nunes twice here because she's won the featherweight and the bantamweight.
Yeah, which is fair enough.
So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You've got 11 at the minute.
Okay, so the ones I'm missing, are they old or new?
Have you said like, you not said Glover, have you?
Oh shit, yeah, Glover.
Yeah, Glover.
Okay.
So yeah, I guess old and new. There's one that I've never actually heard of him.
It's not Dave Monet or fucking Murillo Bustamante, is it?
No. And then there's two.
Oh, Murillo Bustamante.
Yeah, him.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry. I never
He
heard
was the
of him.
first ever middleweight champion.
Right, okay. Cool.
You're welcome. I think so. I might be wrong.
And then there's two. You know, I was said that. I mean, they were like really, really early UFC, like the first few UFCs.
Okay. So Hoyce.
Right when it was like, when it was like tournaments.
Yeah. So Hoyce.
And there's one other guy who comes into that.
Into the early tournaments.
Yeah.
As a heavyweight.
Sure. Yes, I think so. Let me get my little diagram up. Actually,
And it wasn't Pedro Hizzo.
No.
Not Rico Rodriguez. Okay.
Oh, I don't think he was.
What's his name?
Marco Ruas. Ruas.
Yeah, probably. That's
Yeah.
where I'm getting the R's from
Yeah.
Rico Rodriguez and Pedro Hizzo.
Okay, so you got Royce Gracie, you got Marco Ruas, yeah. Yeah, you're doing pretty well. You've got only got 1, 2, 3 left.
Fuck me, man. Apologies for this.
And
if you're
I'll
screaming
give
at
you-
your screen,
I'll give
go on,
you a
give me a clue
clue.
for a couple of them.
Heavyweights,
Yeah.
kind of more modern. Well, definitely in the past now, but more of a modern era heavyweights.
Okay. So, so heavyweight, you had Tim Sylvia. So Frank Mir, Tim Sylvia, Orlovsky back to Tim Sylvia to Randy to Brock to Overeem to Cain Velasquez to, and was he injured? Or Verdum?
Yeah, Verdum.
Thank you. Verdum
Yeah.
to Steve. It doesn't matter, does it? We got it. So that's it.
No, well, you've got one more heavyweight.
Okay. Verdum to Stipe. JDS.
Yeah, JDS.
Motherfucker. Yeah,
So
nice.
you got one more left, and I'll give you a clue. He was the lightweight champion. Very recent, still fighting.
Lightweight champion.
Did you see that screen? Yeah, he was lightweight, yeah.
Who's like, what weight is lightweight?
155.
155.
Let me just triple check that, because...
When? Was it like 155 Frankie Edgar back in the day with Gray, that sort of time? When are we thinking?
Yeah, okay, so... Yeah, it's lightweight champion. And he's also fought as a welterweight. And so, like, Conor era,
Okay.
I think he was lined up to fight Conor, but never did.
RDA.
Yep.
Boom. That's good. Mate, that's fucked me. I'm disappointed.
Yeah, so do you want to see? Yeah, that was the list.
Man, that's fucking...
You did really well, though.
Not really, dude. That was laboured over that shit.
Yeah, but...
Don't agree with me. Fucking hell.
So there's
Figueiredo times
19 in total.
Henenborough.
But I did those last two, Marco Huas and Royce Gracie.
So who of these do you not know? You obviously know Figueiredo, you know Barao. Oh no, you don't know Henenborough really, do you?
I've heard of him.
Okay.
I wouldn't have been like, oh, he's Brazilian champion.
So RDA, Oliveira, Murillo Bustamante was a fucking pimp. So he was early doors. Silva, Belfort, Machida, Shogun Rua, Teixeira, JDS, Verdum, Andrade, Amanda Nunes twice, Cyborg, and Amanda Nunes, and Huas and Gracie. That was good, yeah, because they're the tournament.
Yeah.
Mate, that was tricky. And the problem is, my brain's, I can get there, but it's going through the heavyweight from where it went to where it landed. Do you know what I mean? So apologies to anyone that was listening to that for the past 20 minutes that was struggling or screaming the answers going, fucking RDA,
it's
you
related
dickhead.
to this weekend anyway, so...
Of course it is, of course. And it's all about us having a chat. If you want to listen in, you can listen in. If you don't like it, don't listen, to quote Uncle Dana. So yeah, that was good, man. I appreciate that, yeah. Well, do you want to see what the one or two random things that I got for you?
Go on then.
Because, do you remember? I mean, I don't know what it's like now for kids, and this is relating slightly to Christmas. we were talking about getting videotapes the other day. How much of a waste that was back in the day. Like I used to get a videotape of like police chases. Right? Or
Cops.
Cops, or like, it was a guy called Sheriff John Burnell. And he was a guy, and the camera just thinking, hi, I'm Sheriff John Burnell. And basically it introduced like just the normal road rage things. And if you think about it, you'd watch that tape like 1,000 times. It made me think about it, because when I take Libs to school in the morning, by the time I get there, we normally have about 10 minutes between pulling up and having to go in, because my run, I have to take one to one school and one to the other. So it's better being on time or early rather than being late. And she always wants to watch Fail Army every morning. And we've been doing that for years. And she has never repeated one. She's like, there's always something new. And I was just thinking, how fucking cool is that? How amazing is it now that you can just go, I want this. And it's literally, it's there. Like, I had that one videotape that I must have watched 1,000 times.
Yeah. I remember, I think I was, of course I was around when there was videotapes. I did have like a tape with like Air Force One, like Star Wars, and then like Commando or something on. You know, like the action films. Yeah. I'd just like record them, and
with the adverts.
I had like Rocky 1, 2, 3, and 4, 5 all on recorded videotape. Just like
what, like a bought set, or
no,
recorded
like
them yourself?
Recorded them.
Oh fucking
yeah.
hell.
So me and my dad used to record loads of like movies and stuff that was on, because you'd always get like 5 minutes of the news. Yeah. And BBC One would be like, now we are showing.
Or when you were recording, if you paused the recording when the adverts came on, you could unpause it and it would work.
Oh, right.
But it was a good idea, but the amount of times you'd pause it for the adverts, and the adverts back in the day was like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
And then you'd unpause it. So you get like the most unedited version as you could of Commando or Total Recall. I can remember telling Dan once, like my mum, the worst person to ask to record anything was my mum, because she'd forget. But she'd record like the last hour of it and want you to be grateful, because, well, I still did it. And you're like, well, you kind of didn't. I didn't know for years and years and years that Arnie had gone into like a simulation for Total Recall. I only had it from fucking Mars. So it was all kicking off, and then he was like, Quaid. I said, who the fuck, what's this? And then he came back and it's not him. And I was like, I had no idea what the fuck was going off. But I think my favourite story about video recording, and I know I mentioned it before, but maybe not to this specific audience, was being when we were at Egg. I was training with this guy called Alan, and he came to work and he was fucking devastated, like broken. And went, everything all right? And he basically moved from Southampton to live down here, and he went with his dad, left his mum at the top end. He was like, I think I fucked the bottom end. He said, I fucked it. I've got to go to live with my mum. And we were like, what has happened? And he was like, I'll tell you about it in a minute. I just don't know what to do. And he was absolutely beside himself. And we were like, will you just fucking tell us, man? Like break it down. He goes, well, you know Three Kings? And I was like, yeah, the George Clooney film. So basically George Clooney, Ice Cube and someone else rob a load of gold. Amazing film. Mark Wahlberg. Marky Mark. I forget Bobbly Swagger from Shooter. And off they go, rob the gold. And he says, well, I was recording it because I was watching it on a Saturday night. So I was recording the whole thing. And then I got to midnight, and back in the day, so that's what, 98, 99? Back in the day, Television X, the Playboy channel, or whatever Bluey channels were available would give you a 10-minute preview. No. And it was literally just an elongating advert of like just nearly nipple, no nipple, nearly nipple, like for the full 10 minutes. It was shit, but that's all we had. So I can forgive him, but he was recording it. He didn't stop the recording when like the news came on. Because you remember back in the day, like the news would come on between a film and like you'd fucking have 10 minutes. Yeah. Gets to midnight. So he's literally watching this film. Bottom right-hand corner of his cable box, like on the screen, records the numbers going in, specifically 9, 1, 4, whatever the fuck he pressed. He went from that to the Blue channel for the 10 minutes to get his preview, then bounced straight back to the fucking what's it. And we were like, so fucking what? You've recorded a bit of porn or real soft porn. Don't even worry about it. He went, I was like, no one will know. And he went, everyone knows. Everyone fucking knows. I was like, how the fuck does everyone know, you dickhead? And he went, well, when we went to my nana's the next day for Sunday dinner, my dad took the video. That's why he asked me to record it, because he wanted to show everyone Three Kings. And literally, he said he was sat there watching the telly, knowing it was coming up, and he just had to melt into the sofa and like pretend to be asleep. But you imagine like aunties, uncles, nan and granddad's there, and literally goes from Ice Cube or whoever saying some real fucking catchy. It was the first time they did Bullet Time, when the bullets went inside, you saw the green puss. And literally, it was like going from that to just seeing the wrong kind of puss. And obviously, I don't even know what happened to him. He disappeared, and obviously the shame
seen again.
The shame of the Three Kings followed him everywhere he went.
Oh, that's pretty tragic,
isn't it? To go specifically to the channel as well. So I started to go, well, I don't know, Dad. I don't know why it sat on that channel for 10 minutes.
There's a funny Kevin Bridges sketch about that. I'll show you later.
Oh, really?
Like, you know, where you could have, say, if you got 2 TVs in the house, but if someone changes the channel, like, yeah. There's a story where he goes to bed and his dad's still watching TV downstairs, and he's watching the TV what his dad's watching, and he just sees
994.
He's like, yes, Dad.
All right. Hey, Dad, we're just the Bang Beebs.
Oh, God.
Mate.
Oh, funny skit.
The thing is, I think because of that sort of shit, we grew up being a bit more cautious, a bit more careful. I'll never forget going in my brother's bedroom, flipping the video, like, 'cause there's the bit that sat in front of the tape so you couldn't see it, the flap. And I sat on the edge of his bed and I just pushed the flap up, and it said Royal Reamers. Google it if you've not seen it. It's better than Pornhub. It was like when you had a tape that you loved. And I just flipped it up. I went, press play, Will. He was like, no. And I was like, no, come on, press play. He was like, no, please don't, baby, please don't. I was like, no. And my wife, my girlfriend at the time, who's now my wife, and obviously his sister-in-law was sat on the edge of the bed like, oh, well, what's the problem? And he turned it on in the most graphic part. And I was like, bro. And he's just burst into tears. And he was just so like, because he'd stolen it off me for a start. He hadn't put it back. And my thing was always cover your tracks, man. Take the bottom drawer out your bedside table, put it on the floor, put your bedside table back in. Because as much as there's nothing wrong with it, my mum don't need to see it. And my mum don't want to think of her little fucking 12-year-old son, 13-year-old son, like whacking it while he's watching this. So I was like, just cover your back, cover your tracks and watch it. And obviously, I don't know, it's a generational thing that he wasn't careful. I mean, he hooked me up. I remember once I went into his bedroom and went, right, give it back. And he was like, what? I haven't got anything. I was like, give it back now. And he was like, what? I said, I know you've got a tape. And he was like, okay. Went down the side of his bed, got a brand new porn tape out that I'd never seen, because that's the way that porn used to circulate. It wasn't freely available. It was either a magazine you find in the woods, or it was a tape that had been taped over and over and over that someone had basically robbed off their dad, that circulated a school or an office or whatever it was. And so, yeah, I was well grateful that day. I was like, give it back. And he gave me a brand new tape.
Jeez.
Crazy times,
yeah.
man.
No, I mean, yeah, we only ever recorded like movies and series and stuff like that. But it was kind of, I was more in the DVD generation, I think. Yeah. Where I'd say, when did DVDs come?
98.
Was it 98? Okay, yeah. So I only had a short VHS.
Fuck do I know that? It's before
lived life. But yeah, because my dad recently has been trying to copy all of the old VHSs and stuff like
camcorders.
From camcorders, like family holidays and stuff like that. But because I'm trying to explain to him like different formats now as well, and like if you do this, you can make it into like an MP4, and then you can put it onto a hard drive, and it's just like, you know what I mean? There's
really so
many different ways to like transfer, and like, yeah, it's just totally different now. It's easy for us, I guess, if you grew up with it and whatnot.
Yeah,
but
if you know what an MP4, an MP3, a video TS,
yeah, if you know file
TS,
types and stuff like that, it's pretty easy. But if you don't, and you're just trying to like figure it out, it's hard.
Yeah, man. I know we did them for my dad for Christmas a couple of years ago, and they had like 20 tapes. And you know that thing where you sat at your parents' house and they're like, oh, we really need this doing. I wonder if you know anyone. You're like, you want me to do it? It's no problem. Just give it me. And we took it home and we tried so many ways, and it was just such a fucking headache, because the software we were trying at the time was exporting it at like 9 gig or something that you couldn't transfer onto another hard drive because it wasn't the right format. So eventually we just paid a woman up the road, and Chesterfield way. She did an amazing job. All in like real thin, low profile DVD cases, all named. Fucking cool. But yeah, I definitely wouldn't take it on myself at the time. It was horrendous. But I think that's when DVDs, when they came out, videos were collectible. But if you had the American import, it was in the cardboard sleeve. If you had the ones from the video shop, they're in the massive video boxes. You know, the ones that had like 12 inches all the way around the edge? It's fucking
like
huge.
A picture frame.
Yeah, it was like, Mom, can I put this video on? And it was shit. Yeah, fucking huge. So videos, like, as much as they were collectible, I collect wrestling tapes back in the day. I had a lot of wrestling tapes.
Yeah, my cousin used to be mad like WWF.
Yeah, I had
video
so
tapes,
many.
yeah.
I must have had, well, they were all from the place in Hena called the Cozy Market, which is like a shitty little market stand where basically it was what you expect, just reams of videotapes and cassettes and games and shit. So I had that, but then when DVDs came out, they just got super collectible because everyone wanted that. I don't know. Everyone I knew had an amazing collection. It wasn't like you go around to someone's house and they'd have 2 DVDs on the side. There would be a whole shelf of like every Eddie Murphy film and Rocky and all the other shit, and like in the box sets. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's funny now because like VHS has got that. It's the same as
Vinyl.
like vinyl. It's got that look to it. Same as like vinyl's got that sound to it that is like nothing else when you put a vinyl on. You know. But VHS has got that kind of look people recreate now. And you can recreate it with like a filter on your phone.
Yeah. But it looks
it's
good.
Like, yeah, but you didn't film it on a video camera.
And it's when some poor bastard had to sit there doing the tracking. Like, and it was always one of the kids because the parents were watching the film, like, going to the tracking. And it was the channel up and down. And like, you're basically trying to move the grey lines, the squiggly lines.
It does look cool. Like some of the apps you can get, and that it does look pretty cool. I remember me and Mystery when we were in New York, and we were playing around with an app, and we made like a cool little vlog. It looked like VHS style. And when you're somewhere like New York, it's pretty picturesque and looks cool anyway. So yeah, it can work in certain environments. But yeah, it's certainly got a cool look to it that people still use today. You know, whether in adverts and whatnot.
I think the trouble is, it's what you remember in it, and you remember it so good. But it's like whenever you try and recreate or actually plug a video player in on a CRT TV. It's a bit shit.
Yeah, it always reminds me of like skateboarding videos and brands like VHS. That's always like Thrasher and older like Thrasher videos and stuff, and
it's not so
Jackass.
Exactly. CKY. Did you have all them? Can't Kill Yourself.
No,
you didn't. You didn't ever see CKY.
No.
Oh, dude. So CKY was in parallel with Jackass. So you got Johnny Knoxville and his crew over here, and then you had Bam Margera and Ryan Dunn.
Oh, okay.
So they were all part of CK, and there was, I think his name was Brendan DiCamillo or something like that. If I'm right, let me know. It was something Rab himself. All the like real underground guys were in CKY, and they'd literally be up on like an embankment, and there was a road down the bottom in their little village where they grew up. Or town, and they basically chucked like a mannequin off of the embankment that landed on the car bonnet, and they all just ran off giggling like it was a mad funny prank. And I think if that happened to me now, I'd have a fucking heart attack thinking I've killed someone. But at the time, I'm like, watch more of this shit. Yeah, it's crazy, absolutely mental.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. So that's it. So I took you on a bit of a wild goose chase of nonsense, but no, I think that's it. I think we've got our picks in.
Yeah.
Don't forget to check out newshirt.co.uk. Kindly sponsoring us again. They've got some awesome designs, and obviously, well, they're just cool, man. And especially for MMA freaks and fans, I think you'll get the nuance of it. I think you'll enjoy it. But other than that, I think that's it, dude. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, we've got on the full Reptile channel at the minute, obviously UFC 203 this weekend. We've got 2 war rooms that Dan's done on the co-main and the main event. And then also the Picks podcast with Veronica and Dan, where they go through the entire card and make their picks. So check all of that content out. And yeah.
That's it, man.
That's it.
Awesome.
Like and subscribe, please.
Yeah. Share, like, and subscribe, guys.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it.
Take it easy. Cheers, man.
Nice one.
Nice one, dude.
Bye-bye.
Interlock. That is, you interlock the two.
Now stretch them quite a small.
Soccer and the
Quiet, please, and exactly 15 seconds, we'll be on the air.
I felt like a reptile. Like a reptile. I felt like a reptile.